something me and my wife enjoy doing. We love going to the wine festivals, the tasting events. And we just enjoyed it. It was fun. Before you know it, we was telling family and friends. They all started going. We just had a big group going every time we went. And I just kept having a feeling, you get something that says, I could do this. I could do this. So I started talking to the winemakers, each one at the stands, what do you do? What do you use? Some of them shared good information. Some of them was, I don't even really think they knew, you know what I mean? But because you hire people to do those festivals sometimes. But for the most part, people would say, oh yeah, you do this, or call our office and talk to so-and-so, he'll talk to you. So I kept getting that bug. Something kept saying, man.
Real happy with that.
Like when we get wine juice in from George's Core, we let it sit for a little bit, then we filter it off, try to grab any other impurities or anything else we forgot, and then we yeast it. We do a measurement. We do a little measurement to find out the bricks, what the sugar, that's sugar content. It might be, we like the bricks in our wine to be at least 17 to 24 in that range. We find it ferments better, holds better flavor. So we usually measure, after we measure, and we've cleaned it once, we let it sit, let it rest again, a day or two, let it sit, then we will add our yeast. Now, that's something I'm learning. I'm doing more now of different strains of yeast, different types of yeast. That's been really interesting. Before, when I first started, you use the concentrate, you get the kits, that's all juice concentrate. They always have the yeast in there, you just go ahead and use and pitch that. Now it's like, now when you start doing it a while, you start learning different yeast gives a different flavor, different off flavor, and it's like, okay, so let's change, let's see what happens with this yeast and that yeast. And I've been having some pretty good luck. I found a couple that I like. They're doing pretty good. They don't have a high SO2 turnout, and they're really keeping the wine kind of stable. They ferment really well. I've been really fortunate to find this building and these rooms. For some reason, the wine ferments great. I have very little temperature fluctuation, which is very important in winemaking. And once we do that, I usually check it. Third or fourth day, I like to make sure it's firm, make sure the fermentation didn't get stuck, anything like that. If it does, we add yeast nutrient. It's a powdered nutrient that you put on there that stimulates the yeast and gets things going again. I very seldom have to do that, but now and then it's good to add a little yeast nutrient. We get that going, get the wine fermenting, then we check it to see where the bricks are, and we can do a measurement where we take the starting gravity, final gravity, minus those two, and then times 131 tells me where we're at. Oftentimes I use the refractor and it just gives me a reading on the bricks. If I'm at 16, now it's at 12, good. You know what I mean? That means we're eating up, the yeast is eating the sugar and making alcohol. So now I know the alcohol is starting to get produced, that's good. We like to stop it at our wine at around 5 or 4, depending. A lot of guys let it go all the way to 0. We like ours to stop a little higher. It still gives it a good bit of content for alcohol. But for us, we find that it still keeps more of the taste of the grape. So we taste more of that, more flavor. So we like that. We like having that. Since we're small, we can make sure it tastes the way we want it to taste. Then after that process goes through, there's the degassing and all that stuff. We have to get the CO2 out of the wine, clear it. So we CO2 it, whip it really good. Make sure that all those bubbles are out. We might whip it. You're supposed to whip it back and forth. We don't. We whip and then we let it rest. We'll whip it again. We let it rest. If it's a lot of CO2 in it, we may really work on that batch. But if there's not a lot and it's starting to clear pretty good, we stop it at that point. And then we just put the lid back on it and sit it down.
It'll pop. It'll poop. Because it's still making alcohol.
And let it do its thing. It'll start to clear itself out. And we check it, see how clear it is, We like it to do it naturally as we can. Let it do its own thing. It does have a good, stronger, nicer taste when it's finished. That whole process for sweet wine, maybe 6 weeks, For the dries, once they ferment down and we rack them off the yeast, the yeast and the lees, they call it lees on the bottom. Once we rack it off, our dry wines, we just let sit, bucket them up and sit them there. Some sit there for a while.
Really good. Yeah.
You gotta keep in mind, we're small producers, so wine's coming out. We gotta have labels, things gotta go. And labels been a problem for us. So we finally said, I called this guy in California that does our labels, and I said, hey, what if we put faces on? So I sent some photos out of what, because you make them online yourself and send them out. And it didn't look good at all. I was like, man, it's my dad. He said, find an art program, something that arts it up a little bit. He said, I'll bet they'll print. And we did, and they did. And we were like, oh, this is cool. So we really started sending them out, and being in that art form, it came out make a great looking label. So we were really happy with that. So as long as we can keep doing that, I am a very local person. I'm an advocate of small business in New York. I love my city. I love my place where I live. And I want to find somebody here that can do it. I have, but they want to do hundreds. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if you get 100, I'm like, I don't want 100 of that person. And I understand that's their business. They have to, when they crank it up, that's what they have to do. But for us, we do 60 to sometimes 100, but mostly times 60 to 75. We're going to change our dry wines, where they're going to have one certain label. But the sweet wines and the fun wines, we're going to keep switching that label up, and honoring our people and friends and having fun with it.